education, upbringing, beliefs, experiences, imagination, relationships, personality, and your values are some of the things that have not just eaten deep into your nature, but they have become your very nature. When was the last time you questioned any of these things? When was the last time you questioned how you think? Join me, Emmanuel Utomi, and my guests every Monday from 9 p.m. on PRZ 109.2 FM London on Paspektives, because how you think powers your worldviews, actions, and your ultimate reality. So, come on, let us explore alternative ways of looking at life's issues. Paspektives. What you already know should not stand in the way of what you could learn.
God bless you. You are welcome, welcome, welcome. Good evening, my dear listeners out there. Thank you for taking out time today to share your evening with me. You are welcome to the Prayer Rally Zone, PRZ 109.2 FM. And you are on to the show that is designed to take you one step closer to a better life. Yes, you are welcome to Paspektives. And my name is Emmanuel Utomi. You are welcome to a beautiful day. You're welcome to a beautiful month. You're welcome to a beautiful year. And I pray that as you join me on this program, that God will bless you super abundantly in Jesus' name. That for that person who has that right knee illness, that knee has been hurting you, I declare that by the stripes of Jesus Christ, you are healed. I pray that as I speak, you will feel that warmth of God flowing over that knee, and there will be relief and healing for you in the name of Jesus. I declare upon everyone that's listening to this broadcast, and for those that will listen to the recording of this broadcast, that indeed your going out is blessed and your coming in is blessed. God will bless the work of your hand. God will touch the heart of your boss and your customers, and they will bend over backwards to favor you in this season in the name of Jesus. You will have reason to bless God. You will have reason to thank God. And I pray that as God does these things in your life, send me a message, send me an email, send a tweet, and let's share what God is doing in your life on air. Once again, you are welcome to the Prayer Rally Zone, PRZ 109.2 FM, and this is Paspektives, the show that is designed to take you one step closer to a better life. And if you'd like to get in touch with us, if you'd like to get in touch with me on this program, you can send me an email. The address to send the emails to is paspektives@przfm.com, or tweet at Paspektives. And Perspective is spelled as Paspektives. Or if you want to send a text, you can please send your text to 0757 2605435. I'd like you to know, my dear listeners, that Perspective is designed to encourage you to question how you think. It is also there to help you develop the habit of thinking differently, as well as to get you to the point where you develop a progressive and a solution-based mindset. You know what? This show is really about helping you find alternative ways to thinking about life's challenges, such that those challenges become stepping stones to the next level of your life. Whatever you might say, whatever that next level might mean to you, that is what Paspektives is here to help you achieve, to get you to think about what you're going through, not as a terminal point, but as a bend in the road that you should learn from and move forward. You know what? I keep saying this at every podcast, and I'm going to say it again. There is nothing that you have gone through in the past. There's nothing that you are going through now and there is nothing that you will go through in future that someone somewhere hasn't experienced. But do you realize that your outcome may just be different from theirs? And the question is, why is that the case? And it is because of how we choose to perceive those things. You see, what it means if your outcomes are different from those of others is that at most times it is what you're going through that we all experience in common. But what is really different and what brings about the difference in our results is actually what we define as the problem. Most times it's not the problem that we're going through that is actually the issue there, but it is actually how we think through, how we perceive what we're going through. Let me put it this way, or let me even ask you a question. What is your perception of what you're going through right now? I mean, think about your life. Think about your relationships. Think about your finance. Think about your health. Think about your career. Think about whatever it is. What do you if you have not achieved the things that you'd like to achieve in those aspects of your life, the question still remains: what in your perception is the problem? What is your perception of what you're going through? Now, the reason I emphasize this question is because how you think or interpret what you're going through will determine how you approach the issue. I'll say that again. How you think about what you're going through or how you interpret what you're going through will determine your approach to it. You see, if you think or feel you have the skills, or you consider the situation as something within your capacity, then you might then choose to confront it because you feel you have what it takes in order to be able to take this problem down. You will try to solve it or resolve whatever the issue it is. And you know what? In most cases, you will probably never give up trying until you've solved it, simply because you feel it's something that you can do. Once you have a perception about your capacity, about your skill, about your experience being either greater than or adequate enough to deal with the problem that you're facing in that particular aspect of your life, it's simple. You tend not to give up easily until you find a solution, because something on your inside will keep telling you, come on, you can do this, you can do this, you have what it takes. However, if you feel or you think that you have limited skills or knowledge or capacity, then chances are you might make, in some cases, a half-hearted attempt at trying to resolve the issue. And if it doesn't work, what happens is that you probably just give up after maybe the first or the second attempt, and then you turn around. If things still don't work out, you turn around and you say to yourself, well, I said it, I knew it wouldn't work, I knew I didn't have the capacity to solve it. And what you now have is a situation where if that happens in future, you tend to withdraw from it. On the third hand, you also have, if you feel or you think that you are maybe in over your head with what you're confronting, if you think the situation is overwhelming, if you think it is too much for you, if you entertain the notion that you have neither the skill, knowledge, or experience to handle it, then chances are that you might not even attempt at all to even resolve it. What then happens is that you start to cook up excuses for why what you're going through cannot be resolved, and why you might keep experiencing it, and why you think it might be an impossible task to uphold. You see, it is the idea that is at the heart. It is this idea, this way of thinking that is actually at the heart of this program Perspective. This whole show itself, it is this style of thinking it is to get you to experience, to appreciate that as a human being, you tend to look at the issues of life from different perspectives. And this discussion is what we actually have been looking at from the very, very first time this program started. But particularly, as we stated it last week, we've been looking at the fact that in most situations and circumstances that you will find yourself, that we're saying that the actual challenge that you're facing is not primarily the problem itself, but the primary problem in place is actually how you're thinking about the situation. That in most cases, if you were to change how you are choosing to think about these situations, chances are the way you will confront that situation itself will change. And because the way you confront the situation will change, chances are very high that the outcomes that you will realize or that you will experience will also be different. You are still listening to Perspective on PRZ 109.2 FM. You see, last week we started the first of our series. We started this discussion, the first discussion we're going to have on this series, the making of a champion. And this was where we were considering some of the qualities that makes a champion. So last week we started with considering who a champion is. And we said a champion is a person who has defeated all opponents in a competition or in a series of competitions. So we classify as a champion as someone who has been faced with opposition, has been able to overcome the opposition, maybe in a competition or in a series of competitions. But you know what? Opponents are not necessarily other humans. You see, in life, your opponents could be anything and anyone. Actually, you know what? Not could be. Let's put it this way. In life, your opponents are actually anything or anyone who stands in the way of you getting your desired results. Now, if you accept this definition that I've just given for the word opponent as being anything or anyone that stands in the way of your desired results, what it therefore means is that it actually becomes very scary, because what it means is that on certain occasions, you could be your greatest opponent. Because sometimes there's nothing else standing in your way except you yourself. Sometimes the only reason why you have not been able to achieve certain goals is because you are opposing yourself by actually not doing some of the things that you know you should do, or not learning some of the things that you know you should learn, or not saying some of the things that you ought to say. Sometimes it's you continuing to do some of the things you know you should have stopped doing, yet you want the results. So sometimes you could be your greatest opponent. So if you would like to really be a champion, maybe that is where you need to look at, or maybe that is where you need to start from. Consider the results that you're looking for or that you're desiring to achieve in those various aspects of your life, and ask yourself this one question: have I been able to do my bit? Have I done everything that I know I should do in order to achieve this result? Have I stopped doing the things that I know I should stop doing? Because it is only after you have done those things that you should do, or stopped doing those things that you shouldn't be doing, it is only then that, particularly for my Christian brothers and sisters, it's only then that you should actually start binding any witches or wizards, or calling on any enemy to get out of your household. Do your bit, and I guarantee that God will meet you at the point of your need. Last week, the very first quality that we looked at, that as a champion you should possess, is that you should have a worldview. A worldview that is different from other people's. And we said in one other way of defining your worldview is to talk about your attitude. That all champions seem to have a worldview or an attitude that is different from those of the average person. Champions have a different way of viewing the world. They have a different way of viewing circumstances and situations. Your attitude or your worldview, simply defined, is a settled way, your settled way of thinking and feeling about something. That is, when things are going on, that way in which you view those things, the way you interpret those things, is actually your worldview, it's actually your attitude. See, do you see failure as an end? As you as an individual, do you see failure as the end of a process, or do you see it as an opportunity to start much more intelligently, as I usually say? You see, your attitude affects your perception of what life throws at you. Whatever you pay attention to grows. So, for instance, if you focus on what is wrong, then that's all you will notice. If you find yourself in a situation where, okay, maybe you're not doing well in a certain exams, and you keep looking at or considering what people have said about the exams, that, oh, it's a difficult thing, that there's this particular lecturer or individual that ensures that people fail, or the system has been rigged. If you keep paying attention to that, that is all you will see. Each time you pick up your books to read, something at the back of your mind will be saying to you, well, why are you wasting your time? You know that regardless of what you write, you're probably not going to pass because the system is already rigged. But you see, this is how a champion does not think. The champion looks at that same situation and says, look, if I understand where I failed in the past, I will be able to adjust my thinking. I will be able to adjust my steps and do better and think better. And if I think better, I will be able to act better. That is a different worldview. That is a different attitude. See, your attitude, I will say this again, affects your perception of what life throws at you. So I'll ask you this. Are your thoughts about what you're going through helpful? Think about it. Just take a step back and think about how you are thinking about the situations and circumstances that you find yourself. I'll say that again. Take a step back and think about how you are thinking about the situations and circumstances that you're going through. Are those thoughts helpful? The thoughts you are having about what you're going through, are they helpful? Are your thoughts moving you towards a solution, or are they ensuring that you are moving around in circles? Do you realize that certain times you find yourself in certain situations, there are certain questions that you ask that even if you get the answers to those questions, they still don't move you out of that situation? Do you realize that sometimes the way you're thinking about where you find yourself may not be making any difference whatsoever? If anything, it might be making you a bit more worried or depressed. So the question is this: why are you spending quality time and energy thinking about the situation in such a way that it will not bring any resolution? Why? Think about it. Do you realize that there is a thinking style that occupies your mind? Do you realize that? But that thinking style does not lead you towards a solution. So these are the things that we spent time looking at last week. And if you like to hear a bit more, I want to encourage you, go on to the PRZ FM Africa SoundCloud account and download the Making of a Champion. That's the first episode. So that's what we had last week. Now this week, we are still looking at the making of a champion. Like we said, champions, this week we're going to be looking at opportunities. Opportunities. You see, champions see opportunities where other people see problems. Champions see opportunity in the turn of an event. Regardless of how things turn out, a champion always has a perspective that, look, things will always get better. They have developed their insight into life such that they are able to consider problems actually not as problems, but as opportunities. Do you realize that whatever it is that befalls anybody, if there's a natural disaster somewhere, while some people are seeing it as a disaster, some people are smiling to the bank. Why? They have prepared for it. So this is how a champion thinks. The Bible says a wise man foresees evil. And what does he do? He avoids it. He prepares for it. See, for the sake of clarity, I want us to actually consider the definition for the word opportunity. And I actually took out time and went into the dictionary, and this is how the dictionary defines the word opportunity. It says it is a situation or condition favorable for the achievement of a goal. That opportunity is a situation or condition favorable for the achievement of a goal. So you see, I have a question, because this definition says opportunity is a situation or a condition that is favorable for the achievement of a goal. Question: when is a situation favorable? When would you consider a situation favorable? The other question I also need you to consider is, what makes a situation favorable? Because there are certain situations where some people give up and give in, and some other people go into those same situations. They go through what those people are going through, and they say, you know what, this is a perfect opportunity for me to grow. And I need you to decide. You decide for yourself when a situation is favorable, because if it's favorable, it means there's an opportunity there for you. You see, for some, the achievement of undesired results is an absolute pain. Some consider it an unfavorable situation. So you've been trying to achieve a certain goal, but the result you end up with is actually not what you bargained for. You see, when a champion confronts this, for the champion, it is not an unfavorable situation. It actually becomes a favorable situation, because to a champion, it is an opportunity to learn. For a champion, it's an opportunity to grow. For a champion, such results are an opportunity to carefully observe what has happened and question the results in such a way that the results that is supposed to be undesirable, the result that is unexpected, actually becomes a favorable outcome. You see, in today's society, there are many items out there that have become part of our daily lives, which were not originally designed to be the outcomes that they are today. Let me give you an example. In 1894, Dr. John Harvey was the superintendent of the Battle Creek Sanitarium in Michigan. You see, he and his brother Will Keith were Seventh-day Adventists. And they were searching for wholesome foods to feed patients, food that also complied with the Adventists' strict vegetarian diet. It was in this search for a meal that is suitable that they accidentally left some of the boiled wheat sitting out. They just left it and forgot it there. And you know what happened? It went stale. It went stale such that by the time they returned, they realized that there was no way they could serve it. But you know what? Instead of throwing it away, you know what the brothers did? They decided to send the stale wheat to the rollers, hoping that they know it was stale, but they felt maybe they could still salvage it. So they sent it to the rollers, hoping to make long sheets of dough out of the wheat. But you know what happened? All they could get were flakes. And what they decided to do was to toast the flakes. And then, you know what? They served the stale flakes to their patients. And you know what? Their patients, they loved it. You know the last name of those brothers? Kellogg's. Yes, Dr. John Harvey Kellogg's and Will Kit Kellogg's. They were the brothers that gave us today what we call cornflakes. You see, cornflakes was not originally intended to turn out the way we have it today. It was being used for something else. In fact, it started out being used. It was wheat that was used. It was later through experimentation that you now had corn being used for cornflakes. Now, what am I driving at? Here was a process that, quote and unquote, turned out to be unfavorable. But you remember the question I asked earlier? When is a situation unfavorable? Or what makes a situation unfavorable? And you know what? To be truthful, the answer is you make a situation either favorable or unfavorable. You determine when a situation is either favorable or unfavorable. It's not the results that you get. Today we enjoy things like the Post-it note, the microwave oven. These were items that were not originally designed the way they came out. But someone somewhere was experimenting on something else and decided, you know what, I could also use this for this. What am I saying? As an individual, you need to get to the point where you decide that whatever results that you get, it is not a problem, that there will be an opportunity right there. Listen, whatever life throws at you, look at it this way. It has thrown the same thing or even worse to people in the past, and they have come out on top smiling. So can you. This is one of the qualities of a champion. You are listening to Perspectives on PRZ 109.2 FM, and my name is Emmanuel. And as I close, I'd like to say this. You know what? Last week we talked about you as a champion having the attitude, the worldview that turns things around, no matter how bleak. Today we're saying, look at the problems, the situation that you find yourself. Look at them through the eyes of opportunities. You should ask yourself, look, there's something going on around me that I can turn around for good. People have gone through broken homes and have written books that have saved other homes out of it. Why? Because they've chosen to look at what they've gone through, not as an unfavorable result, but as favorable for others. All the things that you're going through can at some point become favorable, but you have to decide it, that they will be favorable. And until we meet again next week, I'd like to say thank you for listening to Perspectives. Once again, my name is Emmanuel, and I challenge you to go into this new week and do something, no matter how small, with what you have heard. And indeed, I know that as you do it, God will meet you at the point of your need and help you excel. So until we meet again, same time, 9 p.m. every Monday, I'd like to say thank you for joining me. God bless you, and bye-bye.
Your culture, education, upbringing, beliefs, experiences, imagination, relationships, personality, and your values are some of the things that have not just eaten deep into your nature, but they have become your very nature. When was the last time you questioned any of these things? When was the last time you questioned how you think? Join me, Emmanuel Utomi, and my guests every Monday from 9 p.m. on PRZ 109.2 FM London on Perspektives, because how you think powers your worldviews, actions, and your ultimate reality. So, come on, choose Perspektives. What you already know should not stand.